Rahim, Salam, and welcome to a special live session for the 15th of Sha'ban. I hope that inshallah together we will all be able to make the most out of this special night. So tonight, the 15th of Sha'ban, is a very special night. There's a hadith by Imam Baqir alayhi salam that he says it is one of the most special and sacred nights throughout the year. And the Imam mentions after the night of Qadr, which is approaching very soon, inshallah, in the holy month of Ramadan, Imam Baqir alayhi salam says tonight, the 15th of Sha'ban, is the most special night. It's very sacred. We'll talk about what does it mean that it's a special night. Like, is the sky darker? What does it mean that it's a special night? We'll talk about it. But for now, let's just go through a couple of these ahadith, and then we'll slowly build on top of that. So, Imam says that this is Imam Baqir alayhi salam, in Misbahul Za'ir, page 405. And the Imam says that whoever tries to get close to God on this night, God has promised that He will not reject such an ambition. In other words, the Imam Baqir alayhi salam says it's the most special night of the year after the nights of Qadr. And whoever on this night makes the ambition that I want to go and get close to God, their aim, their prayer, their hope will not be rejected by God. In other words, it's a special night in which you can build special connection with God. From the second part of the hadith, in which the Imam says whoever has that ambition to go close to God, God will not reject, we kind of also understand what it means that it's a special night. Because all nights in the year you can get close to God. So what is different about tonight? There are different levels at which we can answer this. At one level, which I think it's easier and we don't need to go to deeper levels for tonight, is imagine you and, for example, your partner, if you're married or later on, or maybe with a friend. The whole year, two partners are together. They can get close to each other, of course. But every now and then, there's a night in which they decide, you know what, I want to appreciate our relationship more. We're always talking to each other. But let's make this one special night, go out, maybe to a restaurant, and just sit and just talk to each other. We're talking to each other every day of the week in the year, but a lot of the times we're not really focusing on one another. We're talking about, I don't know, what to have for food, what's happening to children, who's taking them to school next day. You know what, tonight, let's just talk, you and me, special. And it's so interesting, on nights like this, sometimes you sit in front of your partner or your friend or even with your parents and you realize, oh my God, I hadn't seen you in a long time. Wow. Is that how your eyebrow looks? Oh my God, look at your hair. Look at this. Look at, we've been so busy. I forgot to really sit down and appreciate you. And as I said, it's not just between partners. I remember once, especially now that I'm not living with my father anymore, different cities. Once we were sitting with Dad and he was talking and I was just staring at my dad. And I was like, God, I missed you, It's so nice. I couldn't even listen to what he was saying. I was just looking at his face and I was like, wow, I missed your eyebrows. I missed your cheek. I missed everything about you. So the whole year we may talk on the phone. Dad, there's a few orders on the book. What should I do about it? Dad, what do I do with this? But then there are these moments when you make this special type of attention and it really makes a difference. So tonight is a night like that. Imam Baqir says tonight is one of those nights where you're not talking to God about these things like, God, oh my God, I'm stuck in traffic. I need to go to the loo. Please hold my thinking, make my bladder strong. These type of du'as we may make with God, or as we may even forget about God. We're like, God, I'm late, make me not late. God, I want this, God, I want that. Tonight, Imam Baqir says, it's about you and God. Sit down and make this connection with God. And he says, whoever wants to get close to God, will not be rejected. By the way, do not think that the prayer about the bladder has anything to do with the fact that today, coming back from studio, recording the audiobook of Dua Abu Hamza Somali, I was in a rush to get back home. It has nothing to do with that. So, there's another hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam in which he's narrating from the Prophet. Similar vibes to the one from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, and Imam Ali alayhi salam, from quoting from the Prophet, he says that in this night of middle of Sha'ban, it's so special. Whoever in this night decides to return towards God, God will facilitate that. In other words, it's easier to return towards God, which Tawbah, what that means, that Tawbah is that return towards God. And whoever wants to ask anything from God, tonight is the night to do so. There's also another hadith from Imam Rida alayhi salam, in which he says that tonight God, in the middle of Sha'ban, special night, it's very easy, it's very possible, it's a great time to let go of the things which stop us from feeling that connection to God. Right? Any mistakes we've made, things on our hearts, the rust on our heart that stops us from connecting to God. Tonight is easy to let go of that, and God will come and, help us overcome our shortcomings and be able to have that connection with our loving Creator. So this was a hadith by Imam Rida alayhi salam, and he says in this night, try to engage with God, talk to God, and establish this connection. Now, so we've already mentioned 3 hadiths from Imam Baqir, Imam Ali alayhi salam, which was from the Prophet, and Imam Rida alayhi salam, that this is a special night. It's not like an ordinary night. Interesting things can be happening here. Very well. Now, with all of this excitement, anticipation that I hope now we have amongst us, after reading all of these ahadith, we're like, come on, special night, what should we do? Ooh, how can I make the most out of this night? I don't want it to go to waste. I want to make the most out of it. What should I do? This is a place where we should be very careful, because often people with good intentions and good in the heart send us to a wrong way. Even this, the reason why I made the post today that I made was this, that a lot of people with good intentions distract people, stop them from making the most out of such special night. If you remember, I've posted and I said one of the things I recommend you do today is just relax. Why did I say that? See, let's go back to how I was explaining that some nights are special. I said maybe it's special because you want to make an effort to, for example, go out with your partner and really celebrate your relationship. Now, a lot of the times what happens in these situations is that probably you've maybe made reservations in an expensive restaurant that you have to make it there by, let's say, 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. And it's this one night after many months that you two are going to be spending together, and it's so important for you. You know, the stakes are high. You want to make the most out of it. And sometimes what this does is that it actually causes so much stress. So you want to make sure your clothes is amazing. Like every day of the year, you just wear those, whatever hoodie or this and put it and go on. You're like, no, let me make sure everything is great. My hair is good, glasses, this is good. Let me trim the beard. And sometimes you get lost in this. And let's say you're trying to make sure your shirt looks perfect, and your partner calls you that, ooh, what are you going to order tonight? Okay, one second, let me fix this. See? This night is all about them. It's all about spending time with your partner. But you can get so, distracted by being perfect and all of that, that she calls you like that. Hey, wait, let me just make this perfect. Or you're going to the restaurant, it's a little bit late, and you get moody, like, oh, damn it, we're late. Isn't tonight meant to be a night in which you're enjoying each other's company? Just relax. Even if you don't make it to that reservation, who cares? It would be an amazing memory of you two just, hanging out in the car, or maybe going to Sainsbury, getting one of those meal deals of tuna sandwich and like a 1 pound crisp. You may forget that the main thing is not that restaurant, is not that meal, is not the clothes you're wearing. Is this person sitting next to you? And I've seen this happen many times. People, for example, inviting guests to their house to spend some time, but they are so focused on the food being perfect, the fruits being perfect, that you don't even get to see them for 2 minutes. I've been to many people's house, bless them, with good intentions, but we didn't even get the chance to talk for 5 minutes. You go to their house, yes, the dessert look magnificent. The tiramisu is amazing. The fruit jelly, 3 layers of colors, and then there's fruits in the strawberry jelly, and the mango jelly has a mango inside it. Yes, it's amazing, but I still don't know how you're feeling. We didn't get a chance to talk about what happened to you in the last 3 months. Like, what are you going through, And don't get me wrong, I love that jelly. I love the tiramisu you made, but we didn't talk. I just came, you were in the kitchen, you put this ran, we never talked. So it's so important to relax. And know that the most important thing, as Imam Baqir alayhi salam was saying, is that connection with God. Okay, now let's go and read about what is the best thing we can do on a night like this. Who should we go to? Should we go to the Prophet? Do you think that's a good person to go to get some advice? So, I'm going to read a hadith for you in which the Prophet is giving an advice to Imam Ali alayhi salam. So, the person who's giving the advice is special, the Prophet. The person to whom the advice is being given is also special, Imam Ali alayhi salam. So you can see this is not an ordinary hadith. This is like those, top tier, high level, quality VIP hadith that I've brought for you just because you're so special. So the Prophet says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya Ali, إذا تقرب العباد إلى خالقهم بالبر فتقرب إليه بالعقل تسبقهم. The Prophet tells, Ya Ali. So the Prophet is addressing Imam Ali alayhi salam. When you see that, إِذَا تَقَرَّبَ الْعِبَادُ إِلَى خَالِقِهِمْ بِالْبِرِّ, when you see that people are trying to go towards and get close to their Creator, i.e. God, بِالْبِرِّ, through their good actions, you فَتَقَرَّبْ إِلَيْهِ بِالْعَقْلِ, you try to get close to God through your understanding. Okay, there are 2 ways of getting close to God. Either through good actions, or through understanding. Now, someone may say these 2 are equal up to this part of the hadith. There's 2 ways the Prophet is telling Imam Ali to go this way. First of all, if Prophet tells Imam Ali that a way is better, that really tells us as well which one's better. But Prophet doesn't even stop there. He says, if you follow your understanding, tasbiqhum, you will surpass them. You will reach much faster than them. So it's not that these are just 2 different methods. No, one of them is much faster, and that is the way of understanding. Now, who said that? Was it a person who does not take good actions seriously? No. Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam al-Muttaqin. He is the leader of the pious. The Prophet, the man who taught us everything. So it's not that you can tell them that, oh, they're making excuses to be lazy. Na'uzu billah. Are you being more, Muslim than the Prophet? The Prophet himself, who loved salat, loved good actions, loved all of that. And he doesn't say those are not good. But he says it is the understanding that gives value even to the actions. Now, in order to open this up, I've brought a few more ahadith to talk to you about this. And this is from, as you can see, although I think it's mirrored, from Usul al-Kafi. What does they say? Al-Kafi, right? This is the first kitab, Intellect and Foolishness, Aql and Jahl. So which kitab is this? Al-Kafi. We're going to read a few of these ahadith so you see what's going on. This is a hadith by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. A person goes to Imam and tells him, says, قلت لأبي عبد الله, so I told Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, فلان من عبادته ودينه وفضله. He says, I went to the Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and I told him about so and so, this person. In Arabic, when you don't want to name someone, you say fulan. What did I tell Imam Sadiq? I said, oh, this person, عبادته ودينه وفضله. Says, I went and I said, oh, this person, their worship, it's amazing. Their devotion, their virtue. What do you expect Imam Sadiq to have replied? When a person went to Imam Sadiq and said, I know someone whose actions, oof, do you expect Imam to have said, wow, mashallah, subhanallah, ya akhi, wow? No. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, kayfa aqluh? How is his intellect? What is his understanding of what he's doing? The person says, la adri, qultu la adri, I don't know. And then Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says something which I hope you remember for the rest of your life. Inna thawaba ala qadr al-aql. The reward is proportional to intellect. The reward, the good outcome of an action is proportionate to your act, to your understanding of what you're doing. And then Imam mentions a story of there was this person who was like worshipping day and night, but he created such little goodness out of that, such little light, and an angel was so surprised what happened, and then that angel, well, it's a long story, you can read it, goes to that person to see why is it that despite doing so much a'mal, this person has such little light. And then they realize that, oh, the way they do the a'mal is really bereft of knowledge. And then at the end, God says to that angel, إِنَّمَا أُثِيبُهُ عَلَىٰ قَدْرِ عَقْلِهِ. God said, I only reward him in proportion to his intellect or understanding. Now, let's go to another hadith. By the way, I will keep opening this up. Why is this important tonight? Because let me read another hadith, then we'll make it relevant to tonight's discussion. This is another hadith in the same book, tradition 119 in the book. Again, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So it's not like a lazy person trying to get rid of actions. No, it's Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. إِذَا بَلَغَكُمْ Imam Sadiq alayhi salam narrating from the Prophet. قال رسول الله إذا بلغكم, so from the Prophet, from the Holy Prophet, إذا بلغكم عن رجل حسن حال فانظروا في حسن عقله. If news reaches you of a man's favorable disposition in deeds and character, you hear this person has such amazing actions and whatnot, فانظروا في حسن عقله. You look at, examine the level of his understanding and aql. فَإِنَّمَا يُجَازَى بِعَقْلِهِ, for he shall only be rewarded according to his intellect and understanding. Now, why is this so important? Because see, we said from the ahadith we read in the beginning from Imam Baqir and etc. that tonight is a very special night. After the night of Qadr, tonight is the most special night of the year. Wow, it's so special. Let's do something. And then we realize most of us go the road of actions. In the name of the following the ahadith of Ahl Bayt, we go down the road of actions, whereas the Prophet told Imam Ali, you go down the road of understanding, you will surpass all of them. And then we mentioned a few ahadith, and there's plenty more in this book that says the one who does a lot of actions, their actions will only be ala qadr aqlih, only as much as their understanding they will get out of that action. You have a person who's doing actions day and night, but not making much out of it. And at this point, I think it's very good for us to have a reality check. In the world of business, as I'm a businessman, I'm really not, but in the world of business, one of the lines which is becoming very popular right now, and it's true of most aspects of life, is where you find yourself is the result of the financial decisions you've made up to this point, right? And to a great extent, that's true, although there are sometimes factors which is out of a person's hand. But let's say, for example, someone who's been investing, and they say, look how much, for example, growth you've had, success you've had. This means the decisions you've made, what was the quality of it? Because you got here through those decisions. If you want to go to another place, maybe you need to start making another type of decisions. Okay? Why am I mentioning this? I want to say, look at where we are right now. We have been following these nights of Qadr, Nime Sha'bans, all these years, maybe 20 years, some of us 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. If we want to know what was the quality of what we did, we need to look at where it got us. Where we are right now is a very good way for us to know what was the quality of what we did. And I really think if we look at the quality, and I'm not judging anyone or blaming anyone or say I'm better than anyone else. No, we're all in the same situation. And honestly, if you know me well, you know I'm the last person to judge anyone. Judging is not even in my vocabulary. I mean, it's in my vocabulary, but the vocabulary of my mind, not in my heart. I'm not saying this to judge anyone or blame anyone, but if you're honest with yourself, you know none of us were at that level where a soul like us has the ability to reach. So if these a'mals, the way we do them, well, I'll say what's the real understanding of a'mal. I'm not dismissing them. I'll talk to you about what they are and how to be done. But if they were really useful, then how come we're still like this? How come we still lie? How come we still hurt others? How come we still are not seeing God? Wasn't Imam Ali who said, I do not worship a God I have not seen? How many of us have seen God? How many of us have that honesty, have that love for our brothers? How many, just how many of us, I said, Quran says, Inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. Imam Baqir was saying, tonight you can get close to God. Okay, if I get close to God, what happens? Well, Quran says, La khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. There will be no fear against you and you will never have grief. Well, is that true now? Is that true that there's no fear overwhelming me now? Or am I being overwhelmed by my fears and worries every day? Am I going through pain every day? Well, that means there are levels for my souls to achieve that I haven't got there yet. So all the way that I've been following has got me here. And I want to ask you a question. Is where you are right now the highest level available for a soul? And wallah, it's not. Wallah, it's not. Billah, it's not. You can have such a better life. Life does not have to be like this. And in order to show you of how just following what we've always been doing without thinking about where it's getting us is such a nonsensical idea, and I'm trying to be really polite because my mother may be watching, let me read you, because one of the things that, for example, it's people do among the a'mals of tonight is reading Ziyarat al-Yasin. And it's so interesting. Tonight I was reading it. It's such a beautiful ziyarat, by the way. I'm not dismissing that at all. I'm making a different point. I'm saying look at the people, without judging, who read this as part of a'mal, but don't pay attention to what it's there. So I was reading it tonight, and look at this line, which is right after the ziyarat. It's Ziyarat Yasin. It's mentioned to read this dua. Right after it's mentioned to read this dua. And I'm saying honestly, if someone had read it with attention, look what it's there. It says the person asks God, وَأَن تَمْلَأَ قَلْبِي نُورَ الْيَقِينِ. I want the light of conviction to fill my heart. In other words, we are being told that such a level is possible for you. Honestly, how many times have you felt like, is there even a God? Does God love me? Where is God? Does God care about me? Why is this happening to me? Baba, the dua says you can reach a level where your heart is full of the light of conviction. You never doubt anything anymore. You know God is always there for you. You know everything happening is for a reason. You're always calm. Doesn't stop there. وَصَدْرِ نُورَ الْإِيمَانِ. And my chest is filled with the light of faith. Do you know how many of us were suffering from a lack of faith? I don't know. Am I going to be okay? Is my marriage going to be okay? Is this going to be okay? Is that business going to be okay? Is he going to leave me? Is she going to leave me? All of this means that we haven't found that safety with God, that He's got our back, that at the end of the day we'll be okay. And this dua says it's possible to get there. وَالصَّدْرِ نُورَ الْإِيمَانِ. In these things that we just was a'mal and move on, There's so much there that is saying what we're doing is wrong. It says you need to do tonight in such a way that by the end of it, or at least after a few years, your chest is full of the light of faith. And it doesn't even stop there. Sorry, my eyes today are not reading, so I have to bring the laptop very close. وَلِسَانِي نُورَ الصِّدْقِ, and my tongue should be filled with the light of truth. In other words, as a result of my relation with God, I should get to a place where truth naturally, not just truth, light of truth comes from my tongue. And honesty, how many of us were struggling with honesty? And there's another one there which is incredible. وَدِينِي نُورَ الْبَصَائِرِ مِنْ عِنْدِكَ, and my understanding of religion should receive nur al-basair min indik. If you knew what this means, honestly, I don't know what you would do. It says, God, I want my understanding of religion not to be from what I read in a book, but from the light of the insights I get from you directly. In other words, the dua is saying, Insan, beautiful soul, on a night like this, you can establish such relationship with God, such closeness, that He will directly send you the truth religion to your heart. وَدِينِي نُورَ الْبَصَائِرِ مِنْ عِنْدِكَ. And this is right after one of the ziyarats, which is among the amals of tonight. So people read it just as an amal and don't pay attention that it's telling you tonight you should achieve this level. You should establish direct communication with God. And now I want to ask you, these 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of guiltily doing the a'mal one after the other, did it get you to this level? Did it help you achieve this direct communication with God? If not, then maybe things need to be done differently. Doing the same more will get you more of the same. If you want to get these beautiful gems which are available on nights like this, and believe me, a lot of people are getting this. I know people, or they may not be that many, but I know people in nights like this, they get gems from God. They start encountering God. They get their understanding, the answers to their questions. They change, they transform. Such stuff are available on nights like this. But only for a person who follows that teaching. Ya Ali, إذا تقرب العباد إلى خالقهم بالبر. If you see people are trying to go towards God through their good actions, you go towards their understanding. Why? Because without understanding, you do things which you don't even know what it is. There's this beautiful verse in the Quran, which I really hope you pay attention to. It says, وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقِّ. On this day, talking about that day when everything becomes clear, the weighing of the deeds will be based on the truth. وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقِّ. In other words, the person says, I did 100 rakats of prayer, which is, by the way, one of the amals of tonight. It's one of it. There's many prayers mentioned for tonight. One of it is 100 rakat prayer. 52 rakats. So, Allah, imagine someone does that without knowing why they're doing it, what they're doing it for. And then on that day, they are told, we're sorry, there's not much light in it. Like, what do you mean there's not much light in it? 100 rakats I've done. And then they say, وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقِّ. The weighing the scale is based on how much truth was there, how much understanding was there, how much connection was there. Didn't you read in Usul al-Kafi that الثواب على قدر عقله, that light reward is based on your understanding? Oh, they told me to do it. They told me read this 100. Like, oh, I know, but think about it. 100 rakat and you didn't know what you're doing. Well, if someone knows and they're enjoying it, by all means, go for it. And then I'll talk about how to understand these. But what Quran and the Ahl Bayt are teaching us is that, see, your actions are like stones you find in a gold mine. Now, what is the worth of a stone you find in a gold mine? Based on the amount of gold in it. You may have this big of a stone with a little bit tiny gold, or you can have a stone this big but full of gold. Which one is more precious? Which one is worthier? Well, the one with more gold in it. So actions are containers of truth, containers of that connection between you and God. And they are only as worthy as connection and joy and knowledge that is within them. 100 rakats of salat without any connection to God is worth less than 1 moment of sitting and making establish a connection to God, or 2 rakats that you enjoy. Why? Because it's not about that thing which you do, it's about the understanding inside it. If you, for example, do 100 rakats and you get tired and you're like, oh, this is, if you really think about it, it's a form of disrespecting God. Because what is prayer? Prayer is a meeting with God. And do you really like someone coming to meet you and the whole time they're like, oh my God, when is this going to finish? Oh, damn it, I have 10 more rakats left. Imagine if someone came to meet you like this. They wanted to spend 10 minutes with you and the whole time like, oh, 10 minutes? 1 minute down, 9 minutes down, like 8 minutes down, 7 minutes. You know, what kind of relationship with that is disrespecting the God? And the person thinks that I'm doing a'mal, I'm following the Ahl Bayt, while not knowing you are disrespecting the Ahl Bayt, you are disrespecting God, and you're disrespecting yourself. You are taking a human soul and treating it like an animal. And you are going to the most beautiful, loving creator. You are going to the source of all beauty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are going in such a way that not only you're enjoying it, but you can't wait for it to finish. What could be worse than this? And on top of all of this, some people have the audacity to say that, no, this is the way of the Ahl Bayt. Ignorance till when? 14 centuries after the Ahl Bayt gave us this, it's not enough for us to still wake up. How many times do I have to read these hadith for you? And again, see, on the next night comes, people are like, yes, list of a'mal, and then this and that. Now, how do we understand the a'mal? Let me talk about that. So not only you get a better understanding, but you can also talk to others and help them. Well, I'm sorry I get a little bit passionate. What breaks my heart is that these teachings of the Prophet, of the Ahl Bayt, are things which in few years can remove all of our problems, get you to heights in spiritual journey that you cannot even dream of right now. But we're treating it like toys. We're treating it so poorly, to the extent that increasingly everyone wants to leave. You know, I'm not mad at anyone. There's just so much heartbreak in me. When are we going to wake up? When are our scholars going to wake up? When are our communities going to wake up? Hope, let's go towards the a'mal and say, what is the understanding of the a'mal? Why has it got to this place where some people keep doing it to the extent that if they don't do it, they'll feel guilty, they feel horrible? Do you know how many of you have messaged me tonight? Oh, thank you so much for saying we can relax tonight. We felt so guilty. I had this long shift at hospital. I'm coming home, I'm shattered, and I thought now I have to go through all of this. Another person says, oh my God, I'm so tired. I felt like I have to do all of this. I'm so tired. I'm so shattered. Do you know how many people tonight, at this very night, instead of enjoying their connection with God, they're like, oh, God, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. Oh, what is the understanding? See, it is very true that a lot of, well, not all, but many of these a'mals were recommended by the Ahl Bayt. But how so? That's the part where I'm like so shocked people don't understand. See, Imam Baqir alayhi salam explained what is happening in this day. On this night, it's an amazing opportunity for you to establish a connection with God. So, different people went to the Ahl Bayt, and Ahl Bayt gave them prescription. Masan, to someone, the Ahl Bayt said, you read this dua. Another person went, the Ahl Bayt told him, you do this salat. Another person went, the Ahl Bayt told him, I feel like for you, you need to work on masalan istighfar. That asking God to come and fill the gaps in your heart. By the way, istighfar is not astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. That's what I'm saying. We're just doing the actions and not knowing what they are. I can talk to you one whole session about what istighfar is and how most people have no idea what istighfar is. From the du'as of Ahl Bayt, I'll show you. Istighfar is not astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. No, that's what a parrot does. What is istighfar in the vocabulary of the Ahl Bayt? We can talk about it one day. But let's not get distracted. For now, I'm saying, how did these a'mals come about? So a person went to Imam tells them this. Another person goes to another Imam, the Imam tells them that. What is happening? See, it's a special night. The person needs to go to their Lord and establish a connection. So any person who would go to one of the Ahl Bayt, or even the مثلا, sometimes even some of these are from scholars, it's not from the Ahl Bayt, that Imam or that scholar would look and see maybe this person is lacking in this aspect of their relationship with God. Maybe this person has a little bit of kibr, so they need to go and remove their kibr. Maybe salat is good for this person. This one, maybe they're stuck in their sins, they can't get over it, even in their mind. Maybe this person needs to go and read Munajat Sha'baniyeh, because Munajat Sha'baniyeh tells you how to get out of your sins. This person maybe is in a place in their life where this other person, by the way, or not that all of these are the same person, another person maybe at a time in which they feel like as a result of their actions, they've got themselves to, you know what we say, I've hit rock bottom. I've hit rock bottom. I don't know, maybe I've messed up my family. I've messed up this. I need to wake up. Okay, you go read Dua Kumail. And not just read Dua Kumail, understand it, live it. I guarantee you, and we did that workshop on Dua Kumail, and I showed you most people reading Dua Kumail have no idea what they're doing. And if for them reading Dua Kumail does not need much light. Dua Kumail needs to be understood, needs to be lived. But for a person who's stuck rock bottom, they need to create a fresh start. Dua Kumail is amazing. So, if they know what they're doing. So you see, different people, different situations, different circumstances, different challenges, they go to the Ahl Bayt and they're given prescriptions which works beautifully for them. In the same way that, for example, you may go to a relationship counselor and say, I want to get closer to my husband or my wife. What should I do? Say, you know what? I feel like you two haven't talked. You two need to talk to each other. Another couple go to the relationship counselor and says, you know what? I think you two have had this fight 2 years ago. You still haven't managed to get over that. You need to go and settle that fight and ask forgiveness from each other. Another couple go and they say, you know what? I think you two are actually have no problem. It's that you are not agreeing on how to deal with your children. The problem is not between you two. You need to figure out how to deal with your children. Now, each prescription was given to who? A different couple. Now imagine you don't want to pay a relationship counselor. You're like, you know what? Why should I pay 60 quid an hour, or probably even more? I don't know what's the rate for a relationship counselor. I'll just call my friends up and be like, what did the relationship counselor told them? So like, hello mate, yeah, so you went, you know that relationship counselor thing you went? Yeah. No, so don't, no, we have no problem at home. I was just curious. What did she tell you? I have to talk. Okay, no, we don't have any problem. I'm just asking. No, we're perfect at home. Yeah. So just talking to each other. Yeah, how did she by any chance said how long on 90 minutes a week? Oh, okay, 90 minutes a week. Okay. You call another mate up. Oh, so you as well. I've heard you've been to this relationship. And what did you have to figure out your children, huh? So she said you have no problems between you, and it's just like agreeing on how to raise the children. Okay. No, we're good. And then you start writing all of that down, and you go to your wife or your husband. You know what we should do? We need to talk to each other 90 minutes a week, and then we need to figure out that fight we had 2 years ago, and we also need to agree on how to raise our child. And your wife is looking at you. We just got married last year. What fight are you talking about 2 years ago? And we don't even have a child. What are we agreeing on? Right? It doesn't make sense. So this is kind of the situation we are in right now. A lot of beautiful prescriptions, which many of them may apply to us. But when you bring 10, 20, 30 of those, and you don't tell the person what they are achieving through it, what is it meant to do, you just pour all of this on top of them, the person is left with 10 ziyarats, 2 du'as, 200 raka'ats, and then by the end of it, they don't even know what did they do. Did they talk to God? Did they feel close to God? What am I doing? What am I reading? What am I saying? Why am I saying? Whereas every single one of these items in these a'mal lists, it's so profound, it's so powerful. Sometimes one of it is enough to change the life of a person. But when you do it in such a way, without understanding, without knowing what's the philosophy behind it, you just tell someone, read Dua Kumail. Mate, that's not going to help them one bit. You have to know how they should read Dua Kumail. What is the right way of reading Dua Kumail? And if you have an ounce of understanding of what Dua Kumail is, you know that Dua Kumail is so heavy, one Dua Kumail is enough for a whole night. How can that, on top of that, another person on this day, or one of these heavyweights of spirituality, they're Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali Kelly of spirituality, they can handle all of these at one night. And most people, ordinary people like me, with one dua kumil, they're done for the night. If they do it right, it creates such shift and change inside them that to tell them now go back and do this thing again, you're ruining all the progress they made. Imagine someone who has alhamdulillah, by the grace and mercy of God, has had a very spiritual month of Rajab and the first 2 weeks of Sha'ban, alhamdulillah. Not only they haven't made any mistakes, but they have been fasting, they have been very spiritual. Now, if you tell this person that tonight do 100 times istighfar, go and ask God for forgiveness, you are just confusing this soul. This soul has not made any sins the last 2 weeks. He's been fasting the whole 2 weeks. What are you on about? This person, you have to help him. He shouldn't get kibr, because 2 weeks of fasting may get into their head and they may think that they're so spiritual. This person, you need to balance the ego for them. This person, you tell them, go read Abu Hamza Somali. Go do 2 rakats of salat, but put your head down and say, Alhamdulillah, all good comes from God. So that this momentum of spirituality they're building from very early on, you take ego out of it. But if such a person who is enjoying God's love, who is enjoying God's blessings, instead of now telling them, go and get the ego out and build on top of that, go higher, ask God for more, you get them stuck in repentance. Does that even make sense to you? Repentance is for someone who's stuck in their sin right now. A person who's stuck in sin right now, yes, you help them how to overcome that. Just do istighfar for that. How can God come and heal the reason you made that mistake? You work on that. And all of this has methods. Or if people don't know, doesn't mean that Ahlul Bayt haven't taught this. Wallah, all of this is on in our adiyah. So, different people need to do different things. See, honestly, even between 2 people, if 2 people are wanting to spend a special night together, if they were fighting yesterday, now need to talk about that fight. That's kind of what istighfar is. I have a shortcoming. Istighfar is, God, come fill in the gaps in me so that I do not commit the same shortcoming again. Come fill the gaps. But if 2 people are in love, every moment they're, enjoying each other's company, they've reached that level of munajat 15 ilahi man dhal ladhi dhaqa halawata mahabbatika farama minka badala. God, who is the one who tasted the sweetness of your affection and then wanted anything else? If someone is at that level, if someone is having one of those moments where they're really enjoying God's presence, now to go them and tell them, now keep saying istighfar tonight, you're wasting their opportunity to go closer to God, to enjoy God's presence, to talk to God. See, each person requires a different thing. And so all of the a'mals on their own, they make a lot of sense. But you need to know why you're doing it. What are you doing? And now, if you don't, honestly, it's just like you're taking 200 different pills at the same time. And sometimes I make this example that some people take the pill for diarrhea and constipation at the same time. And there's, for someone, you need to give them more momentum, go towards God. For someone, say, relax a little bit, you're getting too high. Let go of their ego. These are 2 separate prescriptions. But some people do both at the same time. It's like having the pill for diarrhea and constipation at the same time. And then the person is wondering, I did all of this a'mal and by morning I have no impact. Obviously, I feel bad for your stomach. I feel bad for your bladder. I mean, spiritually speaking, right? Metaphorically speaking. Now, let's go again back to Usul al-Kafi and read the hadith by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, "Ma qasama Allahu lil ibadi shay'an afdala min al-aql." The Prophet said, God has not shared anything among people better than aql, understanding. And I think after tonight's discussion, you kind of have a feeling of why that is true. He says, you spend how many, and again, no judging or blaming. Wallah, we all try to do our best. Even the people who taught us what to do, they were trying their best, right? I should put a sign here that says we are not blaming anyone. We are not judging anyone. We are just trying to learn the correct way. And the funny thing is, those people actually blame us. A couple of people messaged and said, you're going against Ahlul Bayt. I was like, mate, you have no idea what Ahlul Bayt are. Let's come and talk about them. These are their ahadiths. So, the Prophet says nothing better than understanding has been shared among people. Why? Because if you don't have aql, if you don't have intellect and understanding, you eat the pill for diarrhea and constipation at the same time. That's why the Prophet says aql is so important. You do million rakats of prayer and you don't even have time 1 second to talk to God. And Imam Baqir had said tonight is the night of getting close to God. خب حالا look at this. فنوم العاقله فنوم العاقله أفضل من سحر الجاهل. The sleep of one who employs his intellect, uses his intellect, knows what they're doing, is better than a person who doesn't have understanding and they stay up all night, than a vigil of a person who doesn't know what they're doing. Did you hear what the Prophet said? Honestly, if we share this tonight, in a night like this, where everyone's trying to stay up, which is a very good thing if it's done right. But in a night like this, where everyone's trying to stay up, if we share the hadith of the Prophet, that it says a person with understanding, their sleep is better than the vigil of the person without understanding, and we don't say this hadith is by the Prophet, believe me, that person is going to get cancelled. WhatsApp groups going around, oh, did you hear what this kafir said? Don't invite him here, don't invite him there, astaghfirullah. And then if you say later on that the Prophet said that, like, no, I'll cancel him for now, we'll think about it later. It's the Prophet. It doesn't mean that we should all sleep tonight though. If you feel like talking to God, by all means, but it should come naturally to you. There's a high chance that I may stay up myself as well. But see, the Prophet says it's all about your understanding. It should be natural. This religion makes so much sense if people just stop talking and allow the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt to talk. We said it's a special night. Special night, you want to spend special time, quality time with your God. Now, with other people in your life, when you want to spend quality time with you, what do? Imagine your best friend has flown in from a different country. You're going to spend one night together. Oh, it's so special. Naturally, you may end up talking to each other so long that you realize, oh my God, it's morning. And that is the most beautiful way to spend the night. You kept talking, sharing memories, enjoying connection, and you suddenly realize, oh my God, it's the morning. And this staying up is the most beautiful thing for your soul. But if you are next to a friend and you really love them, but and they've flown in with this just for one day, but you're tired. Today we're taking care of your 2-year-old. And these 2-year-olds, mashallah, just eat, burp, and then, they need to be changing their diapers. Poor thing, it's always work. Did you eat? Okay, then do this. At a 2-year-old, I think it's a little bit old for burping, But it's just like running after them, then this, that. Hope you're tired. Even if your best friend comes, you may hug them and be so happy to see them, and you talk to them a few minutes, and maybe as you're talking, you fall asleep. And would your best friend get upset? No. But imagine and they would feel, you would feel so comfortable that you sleep. I love you. You've been taking care of your child. Bless you. We spent some time. We hugged each other. You fell asleep. But imagine that you've been told that, no, I need to stay up. So you keep slapping yourself. Oh, I need to stay up. Oh my God. It's the night of, it's the mid-Sha'ban again. We need to stay up, and you don't pay attention to them. You don't talk to them. You don't engage with them. They're sitting there next to you. You're awake. But they feel like you don't even know what I'm saying. There's no connection. You're just running around. You're just trying to stay up. You're on Instagram just to stay up. You're watching a movie just to stay up. You're doing this just to, I came to see you. They'll be like, I would much rather if you sleep. Wallah, this is disrespecting me more. It's very natural. If you can do it, if you're enjoying it, by all means, it's the best thing in the world. There's nothing nicer than spending a whole night talking to God. But with that understanding, it's going to be so much more precious. So Prophet says, the sleep of an aqil, the person who knows what they're doing, is better than the vigil of a person who doesn't know, right? And that's one of the reasons as well why I told people, do not be stressed. Because when you're stressed, you're not making that connection. Last example, and I'm done. I'll look at your comments and points, and inshallah we'll have an interactive session. I was thinking of what example can I use to show the importance of this hadith by the Prophet. And I was thinking maybe this could work. Imagine you have 1 hour, let's say you're getting into finance, and you want to learn about investment and all of that. And then they say you have 1 hour with the best mind, the person who's investments are getting the best returns. This person has nailed it. They just 50x their wealth and all of that. You have 1 hour with this person who's at the top of their game. And how could you make the most out of that 1 hour? Please pay attention to this, because tonight is something like that. They've said tonight is a special night with the creator of the universe. Okay. A person could come in that 1 hour and spend the whole 1 hour. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. This is so exciting. Thank you so much for giving your time. I'm so sorry I'm taking your time. I'm so sorry I'm taking your time. You know what? I'm so sorry I'm taking your time. You must be so busy. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry I'm taking your time. You know what? I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at investment. I'm awful at investment. Thank you so much for giving me your time. And then and then the guy's like, dude, my time is gold. Come on. Get saluni qablan tafqiduni. Ask from me before you leave me. And you're the whole time you were just saying how excited you are to see them. And by the end of it, you ask such a silly question like what's the best what's your advice for someone like me who wants to start investing? And the person is like, that question, I've written a book, go and read the book. This 1 hour was for you to, if you just want this general advice, the book was there. You didn't need to waste 1 hour of my time. Oh no, I want to show you how this 1 hour can be benefited from at such different levels. Another person could come and has read the person's book, has learned all of those general advice, has come up with questions, and goes and with those questions, it says, gets the golden information. Now, the second person may even arrive late. He has 1 hour, but he may arrive late and may have 5 minutes left of that meeting. In that 5 minutes, he can ask a question that would be worth much more than 1 hour that other person was spending just saying, oh, thank you, I'm so sorry. In 5 minutes, he can say, you know what, this is my situation. I've read your advice. I'm having trouble understanding this bit of it. Just tell me this. And the person says, yeah, do this. Done. One line getting from that person at that level of knowledge and experience may be enough to change your life. Now the same is with God. God says, tonight I am ready to give. And we read what is available tonight. Let me read it again. تَمْلَأَ قَلْبِي نُورَ الْيَقِينِ. Tonight I am ready to fill your heart with conviction. I am ready to fill your chest with faith, such that you will never ever again in your life feel pain or worry. I am ready, وَلِسَانَكَ نُورَ الصِّدْقِ. I am ready to fill your tongue with truth, such that you will never ever lie in your life. وَدِينَكَ نُورَ الْبَصَائِرِ مِنْ عِنْدِي. God says, tonight I'm ready to give you such relationship that you would feel that I am talking to you directly. And the whole night you're spending up and saying, God, I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry. That's how some people think they should do. A lot of people think astaghfirullah is to keep going to God, I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry. God, I did that. I'm so sorry. God, 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 I'm so sorry. And you have to keep saying it. I don't even know what you're doing. Honestly, wouldn't God be like this? This, I don't know what to call you. This. Mate, I'm ready here to give you everything. To show myself to you. In one of the du'as, God said, I am ready to show myself to you. You keep talking about these things. Baba, chill, digga. So do you see why the Prophet said the sleep of a person with understanding is better than the vigil and staying up of a person who doesn't know what they're doing? A person may even stay up till Fajr tonight and till morning keep saying istighfar and asking God for repentance, where God forgave them the first time they said it. And another person may be so tired after a long shift at work, and just before going to sleep, 1 minute in their heart says to God, God, this year I had some shortcomings, fill these gaps in my heart, heal my heart, and you know what? I know you'll forgive me, so I want more of that. I want to feel you. I want to see you, like Imam Ali said, that I only worship a God I've seen. Like Imam Sajjad said, that you can take all of my pain away and that a connection with you is the sweetest thing that... And like Imam Ali said, that the love God has for me is that more than the love of my parents. You know, I feel lonely sometimes in life. My parents are not there, or maybe they're ill. God, I want that love. I want that connection. I want, as Imam Ali says in Dua Kumil, the highest things you give to anyone. You know, وَأَن تُوَفِّرَ حَظِّي مِنْ جَمِيعِ خَيْرٍ أَنزَلْتَهُ. I want to share of anything you ever gave anyone. I want all of this, and I know you're kind enough to give me. جُودُكَ بَسَطَ عَمَلِي, as Imam Sajjad says in Dua Abu Hamd Somali. You're so generous that I have so much hope in you. A person says this to God and know that God will give it to them and sleep. This person has gained much more. Now, I'm not saying if you're not sleepy and if you can continue that talk, that relationship, that discussion, that present, that zikr, if you feel it, go for it by all means. I may do it tonight as well because I had a coffee and minty and I'm quite up. But if you can't, don't worry about it. You know, it's a very natural thing. God is not a monster. God is not a machine. God makes sense. God is a real being who loves you. You can have real relationship with. Why are we acting weird in front of God? You know, it's such a natural relationship. In which other relationship are you weird like that? Wherever did you go to a restaurant and you brought a checklist with you? You go to the restaurant, you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I forgot to wash my hands, or I forgot to take a bath. You forget about it. You can get a bath before going out with your partner. That's perfect. If not, forget about it. If you feel like it tonight, do a ghusl, and ghusl, spiritual ghusl. If not, forget about it. It's a very natural thing. It's not an item on a checklist, you know. May God inshallah accept.